Most people believe they lie for a reason: to avoid punishment, to gain something, to protect someone. But psychology shows that people often lie even when there's nothing to gain and nothing to lose. And if you're honest with yourself, you've probably done it too. By the end of this, you'll understand why the human brain bends the truth automatically, how small lies quietly shape your relationships, and why honesty is far more emotionally complicated than we like to admit. What seems like irrational behavior actually follows a very predictable psychological pattern. Lying without a clear reason often starts with something surprisingly simple: self-image. Human beings are deeply invested in how they are perceived, not just by others, but by themselves. We don't just want to look good, we want to feel consistent, competent, and socially acceptable. Imagine someone asking if you've read a popular book. You haven't, but you say, yes, it was interesting. There's no real benefit, no promotion waiting, no serious consequence. So why say it? Because in that tiny moment, your brain detects a micro-threat to identity. It whispers, if I say no, I might look uninformed. And that whisper is enough. Neuroscience suggests that social rejection activates the same pain circuits in the brain as physical pain. Studies involving the anterior cingulate cortex show that exclusion literally hurts. When you consider that, even small social discomfort becomes something your brain wants to avoid at all costs, so it edits reality. And here's the surprising part. Many of these lies are not fully conscious decisions. They are fast, automatic self-protection strategies. Before logic catches up, the answer is already out. Have you ever caught yourself exaggerating a story and only realized it halfway through? That is not random. Your brain is constantly adjusting narratives to make you appear slightly more interesting, slightly more competent, slightly more aligned with the group. Another powerful reason people lie without a reason is conflict avoidance. Humans are wired for social harmony. In early human tribes, being rejected from the group could mean death, so our nervous systems evolved to prioritize belonging. Picture a partner asking, "Are you upset?" You are, but you respond, "No, I'm fine." There is no strategic advantage here. In fact, it may create more tension later. But in that moment, your brain chooses short-term peace over long-term clarity. The amygdala, which processes fear and emotional threat, becomes active when confrontation feels possible. Even mild disagreement can register as danger, so the brain takes the path of least resistance. A small lie reduces immediate anxiety. But here's the deeper layer most people miss. Lying is often less about deceiving others and more about regulating internal emotions. It soothes embarrassment, it avoids vulnerability, it buys time. Consider how often people say, "I'm almost there," when they haven't even left the house. The lie isn't about control, it's about managing guilt and expectation. It protects the self from feeling inadequate. There is also a cognitive bias at play known as self-enhancement. We naturally interpret information in ways that preserve our self-esteem. Over time, this can blur the line between distortion and deception. People don't always think they are lying. They think they are remembering differently. Memory itself is reconstructive. Each time you recall an event, your brain rebuilds it. Details shift, emotions color facts. This means that sometimes people lie without realizing they are lying. They are defending a version of themselves that feels safer. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. How often do you tell white lies to seem more polite, more successful, or more agreeable? And what does that reveal about what you fear losing? Another reason people lie without a reason is status signaling. Social hierarchies exist in every workplace, friend group, and family system. Even when stakes are low, we instinctively adjust information to maintain position.
At work, someone might claim they are very busy, even when they are not to deceive maliciously, but to signal importance. Being busy implies value. Being relaxed can feel risky in competitive environments. This behavior is subtle, but it accumulates. Tiny distortions create slightly inflated versions of ourselves. Over time, these micro-lies become habits, and habits become identity. There is also the fear of being truly known. Authenticity sounds appealing, but it requires exposure. When you tell the full truth about your insecurities, doubts, or mistakes, you give others access to your vulnerabilities. Psychologically, vulnerability activates the same survival circuits as physical danger. That is why people often lie about their feelings. "It doesn't bother me. I don't care. It's fine." These statements are shields. Ironically, the more someone lies without reason, the more anxious they tend to feel internally. The brain must track inconsistencies. Cognitive load increases. Even small lies require mental energy. Research on deception shows increased activity in the prefrontal cortex when people fabricate information. The brain works harder to suppress truth and construct alternatives. That effort, even when subtle, accumulates stress. Here's the paradox. People lie to reduce discomfort, but frequent lying increases long-term psychological tension. It erodes trust, not only from others, but from oneself. If you cannot fully trust your own words, your internal stability weakens. Self-respect quietly declines, and that creates a cycle where even more self-protective lying feels necessary. But this is not about labeling people as dishonest. It's about understanding that lying is often an anxiety response. It's a coping mechanism learned early in life. Children quickly discover that certain truths produce punishment or withdrawal of affection, so they experiment. They adjust stories, they minimize mistakes. The behavior works, it reduces immediate threat. The brain remembers that relief. Years later, the same mechanism activates in harmless adult situations. A harmless question triggers an old survival script. The lie slips out before awareness intervenes. Think about how different your relationships would feel if small, unnecessary lies disappeared. Not brutal honesty, not cruelty, but grounded, calm truth. Honesty requires emotional regulation. It requires tolerating brief discomfort for long-term stability. That's a skill, not just a moral choice. When someone lies without reason, what you are often seeing is not manipulation. You are seeing fear of judgment, fear of exclusion, fear of losing connection. The behavior makes sense when you understand the brain behind it. And here's the deeper insight. The opposite of lying isn't truth, it's safety. When people feel psychologically safe, the need to distort reality decreases naturally. In environments where mistakes are tolerated, where vulnerability is not punished, honesty becomes easier. The nervous system relaxes, the amygdala quiets, the prefrontal cortex can choose clarity instead of protection. So the next time you notice a small lie in yourself or someone else, pause before judging it. Ask what discomfort it was trying to avoid. Ask what identity it was trying to protect. That awareness alone changes behavior. When you catch the impulse before it leaves your mouth, you create a new neural pathway, one based on regulation instead of reflex. People lie even when there's no reason, because at a deeper level, there's always a reason. It may not be logical, it may not be strategic, but it is emotional. Understanding this shifts the conversation from morality to psychology, from blame to insight. And when you understand the mechanism, you gain control over it. If this made you reflect on your own patterns, consider where small distortions show up in your daily life. Notice them without shame. Replace them slowly with grounded honesty. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you value exploring the psychology behind everyday behavior, subscribe to continue understanding yourself and others more clearly.